Hello, hello! One of the most common questions I receive is how does hydroacoustic search work, and what do all these terms, these acquisition terms, what do they even really mean? Well, I'll start with the most useless one, the acquisition range one. This is just your view distance. You can see it on your minimap when you look around. Usually it's this white cone, that's how far you can see. And in general it's pretty useless for most ships. The only one who can benefit from this at all is the Kagero and the Shimakaze, because these ships can fire further than they can see. They can lock on, they can shoot torps 20 kilometers away, but they can only see about 16 kilometers. So if they would use this, they would be able to lock onto targets 20 kilometers away. But considering they would have to exchange stealth to get this, it's pretty useless. Now we move on to the next term, assured acquisition. What the hell is assured acquisition? That is the game's fancy way of saying proximity spotting. Every ship in this game has a 2-kilometer proximity spotting range. So let's say, for example, my rune here has a 2-kilometer proximity spotting range. Let's try to get this somewhat in the middle. Come on, there we go. So this is my proximity spotting range on the rune. And every ship has this, the Benson has it, the Kagero has it, every single ship. And anything that's within my range of assured acquisition or proximity spotting range gets detected. It doesn't matter if this Benson is hiding behind this rock and that he's out of my line of sight. He's within my range, so he's spotted. And this is 2 kilometers. Every single ship has this. It doesn't matter if you're a Shimakaze and you're attacking in South Carolina. If you get within 2 kilometers, he will spot you. If this guy smokes up, it doesn't matter. I'll still spot him as long as he's within this range. So suddenly, this 50% range to the assured acquisition makes a lot more sense, because that basically means that this proximity spotting range of yours gets bumped by 1 kilometer in every direction. So suddenly you will be able to spot everything within this range. And that's the basic of how assured acquisition works. And then we have finally acquisition range of torpedoes. Let's say our Kagero here, who has the Kagero has type 93 torpedoes. He fires 2 torps at me, pew pew, fires away them here. Now, usually I would detect these at 1.7 kilometers, because these are type 93 torps, so they're quite hard to detect. So I would only actually detect these torps somewhere around here. But thanks to my 20% acquisition range, if I use this mod, I would actually be able to detect them a bit further away. But if I have hydroacoustic search, you see that my torpedo acquisition range suddenly gets bumped to 3.5 kilometers. So I would almost detect these right as he fires them, because he's let's say he's 4 kilometers away. So I would almost detect them straight away, right as he fires them. So I would have plenty of time to turn and avoid them. That's how the torpedo acquisition part works. Now, the ship acquisition basically means a buff to your assured acquisition range. Meaning this circle that's by default 2 kilometers, this original circle here, gets buffed to this massive 5 kilometer, let's try to get the massive circle here, gets buffed to this massive 5 kilometer circle. And now your proximity spotting range is this huge. So this Kagero here, it doesn't matter what he does. Like if he tries to smoke up, if he tries to hide here behind this rock, it doesn't matter. As long as he's within range of my hydroacoustic search, basically my increased proximity spotting, I will be able to see him. And he basically has to flee, he has to get outside of its range to be able to avoid detection. Anything within this range will otherwise get detected by me. That's why, note that the Germans have a much stronger version of this. The Japanese and US cruisers have a much weaker version of the hydroacoustic. The Germans have easily the best one, which is why I always recommend using it on the German cruisers. Now the Fletcher, let's say this Fletcher was over 6 kilometers away. My hydroacoustic doesn't affect him in any way. If he launches torps while it's active, of course I will detect them further away, but otherwise this has no effect on his general concealment. It only affects my immediate range. So a lot of people used to think that this made you see ships further away, like somehow affected their concealment. No, it buffs your own proximity spotting. That's how hydroacoustic search works. Now, hopefully this explained the basics. If it isn't, you can read a comment or leave a comment and I'll try to explain it there.